Welcome back to Interior Analysis. I am your host for this episode, Jelani T. Kelly.
I'm Evan Westman.
I'm David Jones.
And today we will be discussing the summer blockbuster, I don't know if you can call it that, action comedy Bullet Train, released August 5th of 2022 in the U.S. Directed by David Leitch.
One of
I don't
them.
know.
Yeah, it's one of them.
I think I said one of them correct. One of them's correct. Screenplay by Zach Okowicz. And based on the book, I didn't know it was based on a book until I looked it up, by Kotaro Isaka. So we're gonna start off with some initial reactions from y'all. Neither of you had. This is my second time seeing it for this episode. I believe neither of you have seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I only watched it just the one time about a week ago.
So go on.
Do you want to go first?
All right, yeah, I'll go first. How
dare you?
Yeah, this was mid for me. It kind of got me by the end. Act 3 was definitely the best part, but I did not enjoy the ride of this as much as it wanted me to.
Nice.
Yeah, the ride, I know. I was trying to think of a way that wouldn't sound like a pun, but I was like, whatever, I'll go with it. It feels like a lower tier Guy Ritchie movie, mostly. I heard someone describe this, one of my favorite analysts, Alex Cairos, called this like a movie that feels like it came out in 2003, or like would have come out in 2003. I'm not quite sure what he means by that, but I think maybe Guy Ritchie is like the feeling that Guy Ritchie and Tarantino a little bit.
I felt the Tarantino a little bit.
Yeah, but not like only certain elements of Tarantino.
Yeah.
If I had to guess like which director influenced them more, I mean Tarantino's more famous, but it felt more like Guy Ritchie to me. Tangerine and Lemon's dynamic was the best aspect. I kind of wish they were the protagonists, actually.
Yeah.
Or at least they got more focus. Major gripe. Nobody should use I Need a Hero at all, especially in their climax, post Shrek 2. There's some songs that have been used too iconically, like no movie should ever use bell bottoms again, post Baby Driver. You just can't do any better than that did, so don't even try. So, on the whole, I'm going to try to not bash this too much because I think I'm just the wrong kind of audience member. Yeah. I'm just on the wrong wavelength. I don't think it's actively bad. I'm kind of mid on it. That said, for better or worse, I'm probably going to spend most of this episode comparing it to movies. Well, not just movies, but like other things that I think do what it does more effectively. That's the end of mine.
All right, good. I don't need to hear any more negativity from you. David? Oh no.
My favorite moments of this were like probably I would say the middle. I think maybe it's the middle. It was mainly the Tangerine and Lemon dynamic. It was whenever they gave like their subplot they were like the most shine. That's when I was most engaged. I enjoyed like the comedy that came with a world-class assassin who always makes, like, if not because of him, something always bad happens and he has to kind of figure it out and he doesn't want to like cause harm. I found that like charming. And then I found myself wishing like I had watched this in the summer in the movie theaters when it came out, because it seems like one of those movies that like you just walk into, like you're out, it's like Saturday and it's hot in July and you're with your friends and you're like, you want to go into the movies because it's hot and let's escape the AC, and then you just watch like a star-studded cast and just like nonsense happen for 2 hours and you eat popcorn and you don't think about it too much. That's what this movie was for me. And I feel like if I had it in that environment I would have enjoyed it more, but like at home on Netflix I was like, whatevs.
Yeah, it feels like a movie to not watch by yourself. And I did watch it by myself. So that might have.
Friends. That's on you.
I prefer to watch stuff for this by myself so I can focus on it more. I think there's a very specific type of thing that like I feel like is perfect. Like I watched Cocaine Bear a couple weeks ago with some friends, and that would have sucked if I had watched it by myself. But because I was watching it with friends, it was like kind of a good time. It's not a good movie though.
So this is the greatest movie ever?
Okay, sorry, Godfather.
Yeah, Evan's on the wrong wavelength. Scott Pilgrim is your type of movie, and this is mine, and that's okay. Except you should like this movie. This was originally recommended to me by Hassan several times, but once my brother recommended it, I'm pretty sure I watched it the same night. I think my mom wanted to recommend it too, because she watched when I think it was when my brother first flew out to San Diego. They watched it out there. And that's when she saw it. She wanted to recommend it too, but forgot. And then let me know she wanted to recommend it by the time I'd already watched it. I want to blame the marketing for this movie as to why not as many people saw it as I think they should have. That's the reason why I didn't see it in the theaters. It's the only thing I remember seeing from it was like the trailer showing the unfunniest parts of the movie. That's Hassan's quote, because he said the marketing for this movie is trash, and I agree. And the trailer made me never want to see it. I was just like, this looks unbelievably corny. I'm glad I went into it blind, because the surprise cameos, I think, added another layer to the movie for me, and kind of coincides with my topic. And in my opinion, obviously my opinion, because y'all are in the middle, this movie is a movie with a lot of star power that does work. I remember us discussing this phenomenon at one point, and I think David hit us with the hard truth that these movies end up working really well or flopping. I don't know the box office, what it made.
I got it. Worldwide gross is $240 million, just about, on an $85 million budget.
So not awful.
Yeah, not too bad, especially for an R-rated movie.
Yeah,
those have a harder time.
It could have made more with better marketing.
I agree, because the trailer was not good.
No, it made its money back at least and more, so that's good. But yeah, that's all I have for my initial reactions. We're ready to just jump into the topics. My topic was ensemble adding to unpredictability. Y'all both already know by this point, and people who have listened to several episodes already know. This is my thing. When something can surprise me pleasantly, I normally end up liking it more. I want to say this love for the unpredictable started back when I was reading Injustice, the DC Elseworld comic book story where Superman claps the Joker. Because it wasn't main canon, anything and everything could happen. It also doesn't help me when watching movies. Well, we're all screenwriters, and Caulfield warned me, I don't know if he warned you guys, about the curse of being able to predict movies because we're studying the craft. And with that quote-unquote curse, I love unpredictability that much more. But to actually get into the topic, we're led to believe Ladybug is the lead, which, he's presented as that. But I found myself rooting for the twins almost immediately, which you guys, I think, have stated, or at least their dynamic was the best.
Yeah.
Their Tarantino-esque dialogue about fruits and Thomas I found to be endearing and funny. And I'm also, not currently, but I used to be a crazy Thomas and Trains person. Like, you can ask my parents. I had like 2 Thomas tapes and would sit them down almost daily, and we'd rewatch the same tapes all the time. Like, it was bad. Plus, Brian Tyree Henry is one of my favorite actors, so there's that. I feel like you can honestly root for any of the assassins. I've never heard of anyone rooting for Dora the Explorer, but I could see an argument for it.
Is that the prince?
Yeah.
Is that your name for... Okay.
She had the haircut, the pink outfit, the backpack. She looked like Dora the Explorer. Except not. I don't think she's Hispanic. Is she?
Pretty sure she isn't.
Yeah.
Joey King is the actress.
American actress. Oh, right. I forgot. She was Ramona. I never saw that movie.
I did. Because I had sisters. Have. They aren't dead. But they used to be into that stuff. Yeah, I think they went and saw that when I saw a movie that I'm not going to name because it is dead to us on this podcast.
There's a lot of those. Which one?
One where a bald-headed child...
Okay, you can stop there. Elements. You can stop there. I was 100% sure Komura was going to die. If y'all remember, he's the one whose son got pushed. And then the elder, Hiroyuki Sanada, He was Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movie, and he was also in John Wick 4, which we will have a separate thing for. Showed up, I thought, okay, he'll probably give his life to save his son and tell his son Kimura to continue protecting Wataru or something. Surprisingly and pleasantly, they both lived by the end, and they just walked away. There were also a couple of fake-out deaths, which also added to unpredictability, but none of them felt like they were cheating because there were hints earlier to show that this person could have and should have survived. Like, I think Lemon getting the bulletproof vest, that was the biggest example I could think of. You might forget that he had it on, or he had it with him, and then the prince shooting him. I think everything was really well planned out, or if it wasn't, you can blame fate or something. Cameos added to unpredictability just a little bit, I think. I mean, technically, who could predict if they were, who was in the movie if you didn't look them up? Which, again, I didn't. I just went in blind. And the log line states there are 5 assassins that board the train, but there are several by the time the movie ends, and then technically none because the train goes off the rails and blows up or whatever. Just to mention a couple, you had Channing Tatum as the train passenger, Zazie Beetz as the Hornet, Michael Shannon as White Death, Sandra Bullock as Maria the Handler, and of course Ryan Reynolds as Carver. Last thing, I'm a little sad Karen Fukuhara, who played the concession girl, didn't get a bigger role. We know she can kick ass as Kimiko and the boys, and I'm not sure what she does in the Callisto Protocol, but I'm pretty sure she probably kicks ass in that game too. And there was a point where I originally thought she was going to be the Hornet, because she was constantly in the background showing up, and she had the scene with Tangerine and Ladybug, and then Ladybug threw the sparkling bottle at him. But yeah, I like the movie's unpredictability.
David, you want to go in first?
What specifically was the topic again? Because I was listening to all of that and I took it all in, but I forgot, what was the topic?
Ensemble.
Unpredictability.
Yeah, ensemble adding to unpredictability. Yeah.
Oh, well, that definitely was like the charm for me of this film. Like, the plot and like all the stories, like I can't really follow it, and even then when I was watching it, I was like, there's a lot they're trying to tell me to follow, and there's too many famous people and it's happening too fast, so I'm just gonna enjoy what my eyes are like seeing, because it was a visual feast, and that was like a lot of the fun for me. Like Bad Bunny, I had no idea he was in this movie, so when the door opened and he was just staring at him, and that whole exchange was a lot of fun for Ladybug's character, and like killing him but not killing him and all of that. And then just like I think Michael Shannon got the biggest laugh out of me. Like by the time he came in and he had like the full lace front, and it's like the gold and the gray, just wispy woof, and he's just like the wind's blowing on him and he's looking up, and I'm like, wow, of course Michael Shannon's the White Death. And then of course the prince is related. Like there were this everything, they couldn't just have a cameo. Like there was all these tie-ins where it just felt like the summer movie that I would have wanted to sit in on and been like, wow, that was something. Like they really just fed me for 2 hours, like nonstop. Like you thought it was gonna end, no, more. And I liked it. I don't think if they played this movie and like the exact same movie, production, script, edit, and the only thing that changed was the cast, and it was a bunch of no-name, like up-and-coming actors that nobody knows, I don't think the movie plays the same way. Like I think all of the charm of this movie is the ensemble and the star effect.
I do like it when they're able to like hide some of the stars in the marketing, and that's probably the benefit of having somebody as big as Brad Pitt at the front of your thing, who can kind of just carry it by themselves. There's a couple examples that I don't want to say just to not spoil those movies, but I do like that they're able to do it. Like it was fun seeing Channing Tatum was the one that hit best for me. And I'd like heard that there were a bunch of cameos. I actually faked myself out. I thought that the son was Ryan Gosling. It's not. It's Logan Lerman. But for a good 20 minutes, I was like, is it? Is that guy? Like, it looks kind of like him, but maybe he's too young. I loved the Channing Tatum one, though.
God, he's got a great look.
Wait, is this a sex thing? I like to think that he's not even a character, that it's just like Channing Tatum was just like as himself was just on the train randomly.
He's uncredited on IMDb.
Oh, he was just taking a trip.
Yeah. He just happened to be in Japan.
This is unpredictable in like I wasn't able to predict any of this. At the same time, I wasn't like
Trying to.
I wasn't trying to, and I wasn't floored at any point. And I think a big part of the problem there is my lack of investment in any of the characters, because there wasn't an outcome I was hoping for. Like there was none. I liked Lemon and Tangerine more, but I didn't like have any reason that I wanted them to get the case.
It was Kick-Ass and Paperboy, bro. What do you mean?
No, I like both of them, like both characters and actors, but like in terms of backstory and like the goals that everyone had, there was no person that I wanted to come out on top. Like I kind of felt like it wanted us to want Brad Pitt to get it just because main character.
Yeah.
But they didn't do any work to really set anyone up as like
Who to root for?
Yeah. And I'm not even saying they should have like said like I really would have liked if they let us pick, but they had to give us something. There's two movies that came to mind. This is the first of several comparisons I'm going to make. Three Kings and Blood Diamond are two movies that have a MacGuffin at the center, but the characters have different motivations and some of them are more relatable than others. Blood Diamond, I feel like, is kind of telegraphing to you like who it wants you to take the side of, but Three Kings is one that I feel like is a little bit more nebulous. I'm not going to say too much more to not spoil those movies, but the main difference between this and those two is that like you have something. Like I have characters in those movies where I'm like, I do want this to work out for you. Or actually, it's not really a MacGuffin, but like John Wick 4, which we just came out, like there were like three characters in that movie at a certain point where I was like, I want all of these guys to get what they want. And I don't know that they all will, but I want it for all of them. And I didn't have that at all in this. So that was a detractor on my end. I liked the reveal that they were all put on the train to kill each other. Like that was a cool revelation. And then their decision to team up at the end was kind of like, okay, we're going to throw off like or we're going to try to not do what they wanted us to and like not kill each other, because that's just playing into their hands. That was kind of cool at face value. It didn't end up being as cool as I hoped. On the whole, I'd say this has like the skeleton of a good ensemble. It has a good variety of characters. Making Brad Pitt such a main character does throw off the balance a bit. So I kind of wish we had done more of like I hear what you guys are saying, and that was a point I was not thinking of, is like holding back some of the star power in the marketing, but also just like keeping some of their faces away, like especially Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
That is cool in its own way. I also kind of wish that they had been able to present these characters a little bit more evenly, so that we have a little bit more of a like Reservoir Dogs kind of, where like there's kind of four like you couldn't really name a main character for Reservoir Dogs, even if like there's certainly some people who get more attention than others, but I don't feel like any of them are especially favored, both in terms of screen time or in terms of like who you're supposed to identify with. It kind of lets you pick a little bit more.
Action here. We were just talking about Brad Pitt being the lead. Let's get into it, David. Kick us off.
Yeah, so I don't watch a lot of action movies. Most of my action movies are kind of like the action I get comes through like superhero movies or like action adventure or like horror movies or sci-fi or something like that. Like I never really watch like just pure action movies, and this has been like an interesting time the last few months because I've seen like the John Wick movies, I've seen this, so I'm really kind of catching up on just like action, and it's a fun genre. And I've noticed, at least in the old action movies that like I went back and watched, like the old Bruce. What is his name? His
Willis?
dementia now. Yeah, Bruce Willis. The Bruce Willis movies and Arnold movies, and even the Sylvester Stallone movies. There's always like this hyper masculinity that's kind of exercised through just like brutality and brute physical force. And it was interesting to see just like, I mean, I don't think anyone would deny the masculinity of Brad Pitt, but he's playing a very soft kind of just nice guy who, like, the hat, like I forget the type of hat they have, but like a lot of fishers wear that hat when you
Like a bucket hat.
yeah, like with the bucket hat. And I was like, oh my god, not an assassin with a bucket hat, this is hysterical. And I'm like, this looks like my uncle going to fish, and it's like the middle of the summer. And just the whole conversation he has with Sandra Bullock being like, I don't want to bring the gun, and just seeing that, it's so different because all the like old action movies that I saw, like it was like wait till act one ended, and then like the action heroes like close up, get me my gun, and then it's like, oh boy, it's about to go down, this movie's about to get crazy. But this one, he's like, I don't want the gun, I don't want any issues, I just want to be nice, and I just want to like let everything be calm and be good. And
He has a therapist.
right. And I was like, what kind of action hero is this? Like, this is so different. And it was just, that was enough for me to lean in. But then quickly, I don't know, I don't think like you guys are saying, I don't think there's really a main character or a POV to root for. I think they probably want you to see that in Brad Pitt, but like I think quickly they abandon it and it becomes like the ensemble. So like I'm never really rooting for him, or like by the end I wasn't really rooting for anyone. But I did find like that initial hook in the beginning to like have me lean in my chair. I was like, okay, an action movie where I know he's gonna have to like get into a lot of fights with assassins, and he doesn't want to fight anyone, and there's a lot of mistakes. This is enough of a premise for me to be like, I don't think I've seen this before, and I liked that.
Hmm. I hate this. I hate an action hero not wanting to kill, and I hate Batman for it. I don't dislike Ladybug though I dislike him for killing Tangerine, so I do dislike him. It was supposed to be a simple snatch and grab job. He lets the audience know he shouldn't have gotten into any of this, so the whole accidental thing I was fine with. Yeah. Abby, you have some things to say as well before I get to my other points.
I do. I like this idea on paper. I'm not sure that this movie pulls it off. Again, comparing to something else, Baby Driver, I think, is an example of a movie that does the like non-violent action hero a lot better. He's not completely averse to it. He does like everything he can to avoid violence, and I feel like in that movie, like there's characters that I feel like in other things claim that like, oh, violence is a last resort, and then they pull out their gun at a first sign of trouble. But I feel like Baby Driver does a really good job where it really does like push him to the limit, where it's like he will not use violence unless he absolutely has to, but he's also more effective at avoiding violence because of his skills. And I kind of wish that we had had a little bit more of that with Ladybug. Like, he felt kind of too bumbling with it, where he was just kind of like, oh, they died by accident. And if he was more skilled, then like him he would have been better at not killing people. And that on its own would not necessarily fix it. Like, I think having him be bumbling would have been fine if his identity as a character were different. Like, if he wasn't voluntarily in this crime world. I wasn't sure, is he an assassin or is he just like a criminal for hire? Because it doesn't seem like he's an assassin for his main job.
The logline says 5 assassins. So
Yeah, I think he's an assassin, but he's like a notoriously like bad one, and like a bunch of like mishaps happen on whenever he's on the job. So like now he's just trying to avoid killing. That's why like when stuff like when there is like the accident and it kind of gets to that farce place, I was like, I kind of like it.
yeah, plus he has skills that like normal criminal for hire shouldn't have. Like when he beat the Hornet
Yeah.
and stabbing her and then stealing her antidote, like that, no normal guy would be able to do that.
Yeah, like he clearly has some kind of combat training. So it's not like he's unskilled. But that combined with just kind of the way he just stumbles through everything and like everyone around him dies by accident, like maybe this is just me, that didn't work great for me. Like if he was a complete outsider who got caught up in this by accident, like again, two more examples of something that do this, Game Night and Lucky Number 11, I feel like are two good examples. Yeah, where like Jason Bateman.
So you want him to be played by Jason Bateman?
No, but like
just say that.
He's playing as like he's doing kind of the same sort of shtick that Jason Bateman does in that movie, like along with the other characters. But like they aren't expecting to be in an action movie, whereas he knows he's in an action movie in this, and then he's like, oh geez, oh they died, oh man, well that sucks. If he didn't start his day knowing he was in an action movie, that would hit, like, it'd at least be more relatable. But he knows that.
Snatch and grab job, Evan. It's just a snatch and grab job, bro.
But yeah, like maybe this is just me. Like maybe this is less of a problem with the movie and more just like my thing. I didn't find that it worked as well. And granted, like, I think we have enough action movies where, like, the hero is unwittingly there. So it's not like we need more of that. But there is kind of a point where that makes sense. Where, like, if you have some random guy off the street who's fumbling around using a gun, it's like, yeah, okay, he's never held one before. Or never held, like, a real one. But Ladybug has. So, and, like, granted, they don't have him, like, not know how to use a gun or anything like that. But every death around him is accidental. And it just, I don't know, it didn't work for me. Do you guys feel like it would be better or worse if he was kind of like that sort of outsider character that I'm describing? Where he woke up today not thinking he was going to be in an action movie. Would that improve it or make it worse?
Probably better. They'd have to find a way to connect him to Carver, though, because remember, it was supposed to be Carver. So maybe the White Death thought it was. He just looks so much like this assassin or something. But I feel like that's been done before.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically Lucky Number 11. I think it's a name instead of a face there, but it's just like a mistaken identity thing. We gotta talk about that movie someday.
I'm not saying Ryan Reynolds would have been better, because it probably would have felt more like Deadpool or The Hitman's Bodyguard. Yeah, Carver assassinated the White Death's wife when it was supposed to be the White Death in the car, so I like to think it could have been more interesting if somebody competent was there, or if they went the opposite way, like you're saying, Evan, with the guy who's not supposed to be there. Maybe he gets the briefcases mixed up or something, and he's like, I thought this was my briefcase. Or you guys have the wrong briefcase. He has a briefcase that looks exactly like the one with the tank engine sticker.
Well, that would be calling back to another quite famous Brad Pitt role. Because that's how he's introduced in Fight Club. As having the same briefcase as Ed Norton.
Oh, no.
I also think that could work.
Maybe it's the same bucket hat. They're like, oh god, it's the guy with the bucket hat. And then...
And that's Home Alone 2, basically.
And then it's Adam
They only
Sandler.
see the bucket hat? Okay.
And they're like, whoa, that's crazy.
I don't think any of these are necessarily the wrong choice just because they've been done before. And again, it's not a choice that the movie actually makes. It's just like one where I feel like his personality would be a little bit more justified.
Okay.
It would make a little more sense.
Yeah.
Or if, and again, this is another major cliche, but if this is supposed to be his last job where he gets out, then that might be another thing. I know I'm saying all of this is like criticism, but I do think that all of these pitches that I'm having would make it feel more derivative. I don't personally think it feels super fresh, but it might have just felt like, oh god, another one of these if we did one of these things that I'm pitching.
Yep.
David, do you think it would be better or worse if he was an outsider?
There's two ways for me that like I think I would enhance Brad Pitt's character. I think the one way is what you're saying. It's like I would think if they marketed this movie as Brad Pitt as the lead, and they showed in the trailer like him outside the train, and then it was all like a misdirect, and he's outside the train, and then like someone who's wearing the exact same outfit as him walks on the train, and he doesn't actually get on, and then we're following that guy, and like he accidentally or like for whatever reason like they could like switch codes or some stupid farce thing, and then like he has like the briefcase information, and then we're following some average Joe. That I would like to, that's like funny enough for me to get into it. Or they could just, I would be completely fine if like they leaned into Ladybug being like more self-aware with what's happening, like let Ladybug fully kill someone and then just be like self-aware of like why do I have to keep killing people, like oh my god, like this is the third person today, oh my, and like I would be fine with that kind of attitude too. But either one of those personalities I would have bought more, because I don't like Ladybug's personality.
You know what would have been really cool that I'm just thinking of? If they killed Ladybird in the first or Ladybug, sorry, wrong movie. If they killed Ladybug in the first like 20 minutes, that would be so cool. I think I don't know what reason, but like that would just be such a fun misdirect to have Brad Pitt be your poster boy, and then oh god, he's dead, and now it gets to that would just I don't know. I think that would be cool.
What is wrong with you?
It's not that I want to see Brad Pitt die. I think it'd just be cool to be
Brad
like
Pitt?
main character, like person that we think is going to be leading the movie for like both if you have or haven't seen the marketing, and it's like nope, this isn't his movie. I just think that'd be kind of cool.
This is the lemon and tangerine show.
Yeah, that sounds a little better to me. Granted, you have to come up with a like actual story around that, which would just make this a completely different movie. But I feel like that could have been somewhat on brand for the kind of like twists that this was trying to throw in, and that just would have been the ultimate pull out the rug.
Well, that got a little off the rails.
Oh.
Ayo.
But let's get back on track with the with the next topic. We don't have anything else for that. Evan's topic: does this half-ass a theme well? Go on.
Okay, so let's just I'll just ask the question broadly then. Do we think this half-asses its theme well?
No.
I kind of say ultimately not really. I
think it does.
C.
I think
it does.
It's B, at least.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to like run through the checklist I made for the Kingsman video, but I definitely don't want to limit the conversation to that. Just we can kind of use it as a springboard. Because that was just kind of what I thought of when I got to the end of this. I was like, I guess this does half-ass a theme. I don't know. This was me thinking when I finished the movie. I was like, I don't know if this did it well or not. And then I've kind of been thinking about that the past week, getting ready for this. Thematic concept, in this case, I would say is fate or luck. Like kind of the combination of those two, because they talk about it quite a bit. First question to throw at it: is this a simple concept that can be engaged with in a way that isn't polarizing? Not polarizing, I think it succeeds at that. I don't think it's simple enough. So, tick down there. Is the protagonist designed to directly engage with the thematic concept? I would say mostly yes. He's not really supposed to be on the train, and he's not really supposed to be caught up in the villain's master plan. So that sets him up immediately to be like, this whole situation feels like bad luck, and we kind of established that he has a history with that. So, check there. Do the minor characters and plot tie directly to the theme? Characters, a little bit. Plot, more so, I would say. There's several events that you can look at and, like, say that could be construed as good or bad luck, depending on how you look at it. So that's there's a bit of thematic conversation going on there. There's also things, I'm not quite sure how this ties into the theme, but there's a few events that to one character look like they're just luck, but they're actually the result of some other character's actions. So I'm not quite sure where that fits, but I feel like it has a place in this conversation. And then, does the protagonist relationship with the thematic concept change? Hard yes. Does it have a strong, consistent thematic answer? I would say not really. And that is where I think this fails at half-assing its theme. Ladybug has a new outlook on his relationship with fate and luck by the end, but I don't feel like the text of the movie fully supports his outlook, especially because so many other characters have died by accident, and it's not like Ladybug's new outlook is why he survives and others don't. I think this has like a somewhat clear arc. I don't feel like this has a tight thematic answer. So that's where I'm gonna say like it doesn't full on fail, but it does not succeed in my eyes. What do you guys think, going beyond like either refuting the answers that I gave or going outside of the checklist?
Oh, I'm gonna refute.
Okay, please do, because I can see how like somebody else could really vibe with this, and I just didn't.
All right. The entire theme of the movie is brought up so often. I'm sure every main character mentions it at some point. And first of all, the main character's name is Ladybug, and they explain. He was saying his handler was being ironic, but here Sonata's character, the Elder, was explaining that it bears the 7 sorrows. There's this whole rant. He goes on about the fate and luck and all of that. And I like to think that also caters towards his change or viewpoint of it by the end. And you can't tell me fate/luck that got Ladybug on the train in the first place, that it wasn't that because Carver got food poisoning. That's never explained, so you could chalk that up to something.
I thought he was just leaving him out to dry. I thought it was kind of revealed later that he made up the food poisoning thing and was just throwing Ladybug under the bus.
I don't remember that ever being confirmed.
I guess it's not confirmed. I thought it was strongly suggested.
He just said Carver's a dick.
Yeah, I guess maybe it's not like suggested as strongly as I read it. It's just like it would make sense.
So the White Death hired the wrong guy. Lemon running over Prince with the Tangerine truck because she got Tangerine killed because she's a fucking diesel. You can't tell me that's not fate or luck either. Like, why, out of all fruits, I've never even fucking seen a Tangerine truck. But that's the first car he comes upon when he gets out of the river that he should have died from, but luck. From the fall, I don't know, maybe a human can survive that. He also had a vest on. But the Elder being a guard for Minagishi, then fighting the White Death again at the end because the White Death's daughter pushed his grandson off a roof. Because of individual character things, like you were saying, individual character actions and stuff, all of that melded together to the climax at the end. Ladybug being at the wedding where, I forgot what he was doing there exactly, but being at the wedding where Wolf's, Bad Bunny, his peoples died because of the Hornet, so he thinks the Hornet did it, which is what got the wolf killed in his heart, in Corazon. The snake biting Ladybug, like, the snake had escaped, like, midpoint through the movie, but the start of Act 3, he's the one that finally gets bit, but it's Luck that has it, that he had already put the anti-venom on when he fought the Hornet, or in his system, not on. Maybe, also, have you considered, Evan, that maybe it's just Ladybug's opinion on the theme that matters? Lemon finding the Tangerine truck, I think changes his opinion because of the irony, and I don't think it's lost on the audience because, again, his partner's name was, what was it? Tangerine? The team up at the end, even though each of them had a reason to kill the others, either because of actions or whatever, the White Death's plan to put them all on a train, but then that working against them because the Elder was there, because he's the one that talked them out of killing each other. At a different point in time, they almost killed each other or did kill a loved one, someone close to them. No, I don't think it half-asses a theme at all. That's what I meant to say.
So you think it whole-asses it?
No. What? No. I think it does it well. I think it focuses on it for more than half of the goddamn movie.
I'll agree with you that, like, and this is where I think it succeeds the most, is, like, all these things you're listing. I think it is presenting, like, is this luck? Is it not? Is it just... Especially the moment that I feel like it's there the strongest is the snake bite, where he's already...
Because the snake didn't make that decision?
No, because he already got the venom. So, like, you could say really bad luck that he got bit by a snake, but wow, isn't it great that he already got the antidote earlier that night?
Bad luck with the water bottle, too. Lemon drinking the water bottle and fainting when he could have killed the prince.
Yeah, like, I really wanted to hear you push back against this, and I think you have quite a bit, because I wasn't looking for this the first time, and I know you may not have been looking for it the second time, but I only had the one viewing to look at this, so maybe it would hit different. I don't know that I would like the movie more if I were able to be like, yes, this does its theme better than I'm saying it does. I agree with you that it is present in a lot of places. Here's my question for you, though. What is its answer to, like, the role of fate or luck? Do you think the movie has a coherent answer? Because as far as I can see, it does not. It's at least not consistent. But maybe I missed something because I only saw it the one time.
Does it have to have an answer? Or should the character speak on that?
Well,
or is the character...
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Like, which is why I'm saying, like, if somebody else vibes with this, I don't want to take that away from you. Like, just because it doesn't fit my checklist doesn't necessarily mean it does a bad job. This is how I read the ending. I feel like it's trying to, like, be on Ladybug's side with, like, yeah, like, just go with the flow, kind of, and let life do its thing and just kind of roll with it. But then I think within seconds of him saying that, like, I think it's like a lamppost falls on Sandra Bullock's car.
Yeah.
So I feel like the text of the movie is refuting him there.
No, he was saying, and then he immediately says fate didn't want us to get in the car.
So you think the movie's answer is, like,
go with the flow.
Exactly what Ladybug's outlook is at the end?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I just disagree with that, and, like, with that outlook, and maybe that's why.
Evan doesn't go with the flow.
I don't hate it as a thematic answer. It's just, here's what it made me think of, like, this whole thing. It made me think of the end of The Miserable Mill, the series of unfortunate events book, the fourth one. That kind of ends with the three kids sitting together and thinking back on the events of the book and just kind of going, yeah, the situation we're in is terrible, but it was good luck that these different things happened throughout it. Like, it could have been worse. It is lucky that we made it out. I feel like it's like another way. Maybe that's just one that works for me personally better in dealing with a theme like this. Or Children of Men is something that I think kind of deals with the same theme as well. So, you know what? I'm going to say you've convinced me, Jelani. Like, this does a better job than I'm giving it credit for. It's just...
oh, shit.
It's not my thing, I think. It doesn't work for me.
But
that doesn't mean it doesn't work.
I win. All right, there are going to be no more episodes from this point on.
The end of interior analysis.
You're going to quit while you're ahead.
Yep.
It'll be just me and David.
Win against Evan for the past 3 years. It's just going to be, I won. I'm 1-0. No, I've lost a lot more arguments.
I never realized it was a competition.
No, it was never a competition. I'm just...
until right now, I'm 1-0.
Starting right now,
I wouldn't
I'm
have admitted defeat if you were going to leave.
David, you were on Evan's side, though.
Yeah.
So. Oh, no.
I
don't have any more
points. I was
points.
not 1 over.
Fuck! I'm 1-1.
For me, a lot of the reasons why the theme felt half-assed and didn't work for me was it's a lot of telly and not show. Like, a lot of the ways this theme has to work contextually is by characters speaking to each other and explaining things that have happened in the past and giving exposition. So then when the scenes happen later, you're like, oh, but it doesn't work that well for me. I'm much more of a show type of person. I'll get bored quite easily and just kind of like zone out. And then it also didn't work because I don't think the movie really picks a side between luck or fate or defines them well enough. And I think like even the elder is like, by the end, he's like, you know what, Ladybug, does it matter? Does it matter which one it is? Because you're here and you just gotta keep going. And I'm like, okay, but like also, so is luck fate? Are they the same thing? Are they different? I don't know. And like, it doesn't need to be like deep and profound, because to me, this is like literally like an August popcorn action movie with like a killer cast. But like, yeah, I don't think like it was the most well done thematic moment ever, especially when it comes to like action movies.
That's what I'm saying with I think it's a little bit too complex of a theme for something like this to deal with. Because theme is not its top priority, and that's kind of like the prerequisite I set out for when something half-asses a theme. Like if theme is low enough on the priority list, then you got to pick something simple. And despite what I said, I do think this is too complex. And like I said, I am not won over by like I feel like this is really messy. I am going to push back a little bit, David, on the show part, because I agree with you that there is a lot of there's a lot of talking about theme in this, probably a lot more than there is showing. But there are moments where I think it's present and not remarked upon. A lot of or I don't know about a lot, but a few of those moments that Jelani was listing a few minutes ago, I was not thinking of those, at least a few of them, as places where the theme was really in the conversation. And there might be others that we haven't pointed to yet that it's there. So I think, is it telling more than showing? Almost definitely. But there is showing there. Like there is stuff that's not just like talking about fate or luck. It's like the events of the story are in conversation with this.
No, I agree. With the Elder and the White Death specifically, like his whole Ladybug just being there is what allows that whole dynamic and kind of storyline or thread to like play out. And like that to me like is a time they show you, okay, this is fate paying off, or luck, whichever it is that brought him to this moment that's allowing for them to shoot off the booby trapped gun and everything. But I only feel or know about this because they had to talk about it instead of, and that's just because it's a movie on a train and they're not taking place anywhere else than the train, where like for me, I would have rather just seen, I don't know, like the actual stories come together and then maybe the train be like, maybe this be in a non-linear way type of thing, and then have that pay off, just so it's not, I'm only feeling the theme here because I had to be told all of this stuff in the first act. That kind of allows for this to pay off. That to me felt a little cheap.
What if it was called Lucky Train?
Lucky Train.
And the train was alive and had a face.
That's crazy. I was thinking the same thing about the face. Not alive though. But why don't they make trains with faces?
And
I'm glad trains don't have
is it because they
faces.
scare people?
Had a bunch of friends, and they were different colors.
I wouldn't like that movie.
One of them was a shit stirrer called Diesel.
Oh.
David, are you just now picking up on what he's been doing?
No. I just have to sell the bit.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, even I caught on a couple minutes ago, and I'm usually pretty slow with those kinds of things.
This is the greatest movie ever. And going even 1-1 isn't bad. I'm gonna gracefully bow out. What will this show be without me?
Well, we're gonna have to figure out ways to do superhero movies, because I basically just leave that to you. Despite having a
Are
couple
you gonna
that I
leave
wouldn't
before
mind doing.
Across the Spider-Verse? Like, that's crazy.
Oh fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
He's back in.
I'm back, y'all.
Is this gonna become the new bit that we have to like keep you on the show? Well, I guess I'll stick around until this one.
It's almost like I never left. There's always going to be more superhero movies coming out, so I'm never going to leave.
That's true. Are they all going to be good, though?
Oh, no,
You've
absolutely
been getting some
not.
bad ones. I'm out of notes.
Yeah, I'm out. That's, I like this. Okay. This is a good episode still. I like the debate and back and forth. Yeah, I don't really fight hard for things, because I just assume Evan's He's done this more than I have, so I just assume that is right most of the time. Not
Well, you shouldn't.
fighting for it. I think that made this nice and spicy.
No, I'm also glad that because I feel like it is usually the other way where I'm trying to convince you to like something, and
yeah.
I'm glad that it was reversed, and that I mean you didn't. You're not gonna make my rating of this go up. You're not making me want to rewatch it. But
no, that's fine.
I was going into this hoping that you could show me some things that I missed about where this is good, and that did happen.
Great.
So I'm glad that happened.
Yes.
I still want you to like Scott Pilgrim, but you are not the only person I've met that I just got one of my sisters to watch it, and she was like, "Yeah, it didn't work for me." I was like, "Well,
oof,
that's too bad."
Did you disown her?
No,
Oh.
no, I get it. Like, there's distancing things in Scott Pilgrim.
But that's it. We got one
Yep.
other thing to record, so we're gonna jump into that. But solid episode, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for watching Bullet Train, and make sure you go check it out. Streaming on Netflix.
Yeah, probably should have done that before listening to this. But
Yeah.
if for whatever reason you didn't, then
yeah, if you like action comedy and trains, do that.
Green.
I'm going to run through the boilerplate real quick. Our next episode is going to be Silence of the Lambs. And is that streaming anywhere?
Ooh, let's
I
see.
haven't checked. I think it might be on HBO. Anyway, that'll be our next one. We have our Patreon for $1 a month, and I'm going to do a longer plug than usual for the Patreon because it is a really good time to join. Because we got our tangent episode up there recently with all our tangents from the past year. The John Wick trilogy we have up there, and we're about to, right after we're done with this, we're going to record our quick hot takes on the fourth one that just came out. And from way back, we have our episode. This was when it was, well, okay. I'll do the other one that has David in it, which is our early writing experiences. And then from way back, we got me and Jelani ranting for 3 long episodes about the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy.
We did 3 episodes. We
did.
watched all 3 movies on that.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes.
I
I think I thought when we were first planning that we were gonna do all 3 in one, and then you were like, "All right, so just Spider-Man 1 tonight." I was like, "Oh, we're doing it one at a time." Okay.
Oh man. I put that out of my head. Oh,
Those
damn.
got pretty unhinged. The hinges come off quite quick in that one, but if you like hearing us hate on those the way we normally do, you get a whole lot of that in those episodes. And then we have our episode on the 2 Kingsman movies. That's just the one episode. That one's not like the Raimi ones are really the only negative ones. I think everything else on there is generally like, at least it's not negative, and I think generally they're positive. Actually, I lied, because the other thing that I just got up there is the watch-alongs.
I didn't know
which
you
are
got those
similarly fun. Yeah, I finally got through the technical difficulties. So we have one on Chicken Little.
Oh man.
And I'm gonna recommend, like, feel free to watch our watch along of it. You probably shouldn't watch Chicken Little. If you haven't, you're not missing anything. If you have seen it and were like, I should retry that. No, you shouldn't. We did it so that you don't have to.
Oh my God.
But the watch along is pretty fun. If you are going to watch Chicken Little, then do it with our commentary.
Yeah.
But also don't rewatch Chicken Little because it's really bad. Which is why we picked it for the trial run.
What he's trying to say is give us $1.
Yes. And we'll make it worth it, I promise. But don't torture yourself with rewatching Chicken Little or watching it for the first time. But I would recommend our other watch along is Mission Impossible 2. And that one I do recommend you watch the movie along with it.
There was some
because
shit in that, bro.
yeah, like it's not necessarily great. I'd say it's pretty it's pretty universally agreed to be the worst Mission Impossible movie, but there's some really fun stuff in there. But yeah, all up there, only $1 a month, a lot of good stuff with more to come. And You can also check out our YouTube channel with our new John Wick video, and you can still leave your picks for the 2022 awards in the comments of that YouTube video. You could do it in others, but that would just be confusing, so just do it in the right one. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcast. Our logo is by Kelsey Hendry. I'm on Letterboxd at ev_wes, and where are both of you?
Instagram, Jelani2Kelly. YouTube, same place. Don't follow me on Twitter. I'm deleting that soon, I think.
I'm with Diesel, because the Diesels of the world get a bad rep. There's a sick stigma in the train community about the Diesels of the world, and I'm here to dismiss that stigma. So all the Diesels out there, come to me.
Oh, no. I was going to say don't be a Diesel, man. That's what I was going to end with, but... Oh, God. What you just said makes me feel icky.
This has been an episode with a lot of disagreements, so I think you can be either. Just know that either David or Jelani will be your enemy.
And if you found this episode, it was fate/luck that got you here.
For sure. But we hope you stick around.